Yes. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Really apologies for the delay. Once we started our teams, immediately we started, I wanted to record, and I saw there was no options to record at this particular point. And I just had to start over my system, not quite long, like a few days ago. So there's a particular app I was supposed to use. I can actually record a screen, can do a screen recording at any point. It's not on my system yet. So in the next class, even though the teams continue with that recording issues, we'll still use Teams. But for the sake of recording and having the details, let's just use this Zoom for tonight. Okay, I will sort that out. Zoom team just decided to deal with us tonight. So this right now, this session is recorded, and we'll begin our class. We'll begin from the last thing we did in the previous class, and I'll try as much as possible to explain well. Please mute yourself wherever you are. Connect your audio at some point. Whenever you have questions, you can actually ask the questions later on. So tonight, we'll be looking at how we can actually use the turtle model to explain the concept of drawing a circle. You may have different approach of making your own work, but I'm trying to make sure that it's not just about drawing the circle, it's about understanding the whole logic behind the particular method I'm doing. It's just for you to understand what each line of code is actually doing. Goodness Lord. Okay, so without wasting much of your time, I'll be sharing my screen and I'll begin shortly. So I'll look at the presentation mode and are you serious? What is going on? Okay, guys, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, good. So a little recap of what we did in the last class. We looked at how we can actually create a polygon. We looked at different numbers of sides. We looked at when it comes to 8, that we want to find the angle of a polygon. We start with the angle 360 divided by n. And Mr. Back came up with a concept that says that the total angles must not be 360 at some point. And Dr. Payemi also actually brought up an idea that it's an external angle that sums up to be 360 degrees. And also Dr. Schreib actually said that internal angles actually may not necessarily be what the sum of them may not necessarily be 360. So in this particular concept, using the external angle. So, but for those of us that are not good at mathematics, it's not really a guarantee right now. It's not a guarantee that you must understand the whole concept of getting the 360 degree. Just know that there's a formula that we use. Angle is equals to 360 over n. If you're asked for an interview kind of a setting, because they may not really want to know if you have math background or not, they'll just ask you all these things. And these questions that I bring here, if you check in your assignments, these are the kind of questions that you have. So those questions that you see there are questions that I got for an interview kind of platform. So these are things you'll be seeing. They will not check if you know math or not. So just try and know what to do at the particular time. So this was the code we did. We ran it and we made it work for us. We now looked at what we call the named arguments by trying to say that a named argument is when we call a function and we pass a parameter to it. So if you look at what we did here, see what there's an error already here, 3 errors showing, but this is what we did. What did we do? We passed a polygon. The polygon was the function which we have defined already. When we define this function, we see that t equals to t, d equals to 80, n equals to 8, is reset is equals to false. These are what we call named arguments. Why are they named arguments? Because they have been what? They are passing a parameter into a particular, you're calling a function and you're passing a particular kind of parameter and you're putting in a parameter name and also a parameter value. So we can see this is a parameter name and this is a value. This D is a parameter name and this is the value 80. So that's what a named argument is. I will be seeing a lot of it in our class. I will be using it practically here in this particular encounter tonight. So without wasting much of your time, I would like to go into to show you how we can actually draw a circle in this particular method. There are different ways of drawing a circle. It could be as simple as 3 lines, but I just want to explain a concept for you. So we just go, first of all, for us to get to draw a circle in this particular method, we want to import the math model into this particular concept. So we import math. Once we import math, the next thing we're going to do is definitely we want to define this particular function, and the function name, let's make it descriptive enough and say def df, that's the name for a function. So let's put it as circle. Name is as circle, and we're going to pass a parameter that is going to be for sure it's going to be a t object in which we have defined right from the very beginning of this course. It's from the very beginning. For those that have missed it out, go to the recordings, it's always available. And definitely a circle will need radius. And once it needs radius, we're going to also look at the Boolean value of total reset screen, which is, we can actually say is underscore reset that we have been using. So far, definitely we'll end it with a colon. And once we press enter, we get into a scope, and we can decide to use a docstring. So we can use docstring and enter. All of a sudden it shows the parameter. So we can just say this draws a circle, draws a circle, and the parameter t will definitely be is the total itself, the total object in which you have defined from the beginning, the total object. So this is more of like trying to tell you the details of this particular function. So the parameter r is what is going to be an integer value. Definitely is going to be an integer value r. We just explain it. Then the reset is definitely a Boolean. Is either true or false? So it's going to return what? We're going to return the shape of a circle. It's going to return the shape of a circle. So whatever it is in this particular docstring is what we are just trying to define what that particular function does. Now we have imported the math module. At this point, we are going to bring in the parameter. For us to find the, for us to get to the circle, we need to look at the parameter of this particular circle. So we're going to define it in the name parameter, and just make it descriptive enough. Parameter equals pi r. So we're going to say times maths. Remember, we have done this before, maths.py, when we're trying to look at the math function, when there was an assignment for this, even when during the class we did this. So times what? R. Now, the next thing you're going to look at, please listen to this particular concept. It is very important that you get to know this particular concept. Now, when you're trying to move, when a circle is trying to move, it comes in different arcs. Like it could be a small arc, and that arc comes together to form another arc. It keeps on moving and moving. Like that arc, I'm just trying to say that there was a little bit of the small curve, a kind of small curve, and that particular curve has a particular kind of angle. So at these particular angles, it's total, the total angle of a circle is definitely 360. So each of those angles, they come together in a particular arc to form the 360 degrees. So we are going to divide this particular concept of circle drawing into different angles, which are in the form of what? The angle of the what? Of arcs. And each of these particular angles of arc will actually add up together in steps that would definitely derive a drawing for a circle. Yes, it might be confusing right now, but as we get along to explain, as we code along, as we practice along, you are going to understand the whole concept of this stuff. Okay, so let's just go to the next thing we're going to look at is the step size of it. So let's say we want to look at the angle. Let's just use an angle of, let's say each of these angle arcs, the angle arcs, or the arc of the angles is 10, and we are going to divide it by what? 360 to give us the different steps that will take to get to 360 degrees. So we just define that particular this thing as steps. Steps equals to 360 divided by the angle of the arc. So let's say we want to use 10 degrees angle at each of the arcs so that to actually give us what we want to the step size of a particular, the total step size that will be added to get up to 360. So by the time we get this, if you look at this particular value right now, 360 divided by 10, the answer would definitely give us a flute. I don't know if someone understands this particular concept. 360 divided by 10 is definitely going to give you 36, but the answer will give you 36.0. So there's something you need to do to this particular the whole of this 360 over 10 to make it an integer value. So what do? We can just decide to convert it. What did we call it then? Back then when we're trying to we just try to change it to an integer. Any value that we have, we're going to change it. So if it's 36.0, by the time that we have casted, is casting. So one time we cast this into what is going to change from 36.0 to what? 36 itself. So by the time we do that, the next thing we are going to do is the distance. The distance of this particular circle, which is always defined as D, is definitely going to be the perimeter. The perimeter, that's the movement round the circle divided by what? The steps in which it's going to take. That's why I think I sent some, okay, the one I sent this afternoon was more of like the angles of a star. So just know that at this particular point, distance is going to be perimeter divided by the steps in which it's going to take. So the distance is going to be the perimeter divided by the steps. So go to enter, we just say the distance is going to be what? Is going to be perimeter divided by the steps in which you want to take. Though your own method would actually make a whole lot of sense, but right now I'm just trying to play with this particular concept of drawing this circle in a way that we actually understand, instead of just calling, you can just decide to say total.circle, put in the parameter, and definitely just 3 steps and you draw your circle. But I just want to explain certain things. Now, this particular concept of named argument is what I want to tell you right now. I want to define, I want to reference, I want to use this particular point to go back to what we did in the previous classes by using a parametric function. Remember when we tried to link up different functions, bringing them together to work in a particular function. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to use the polygon function. In this polygon function, we are going to use it in a way that is going to be inside this circle right now. It's getting more complicated, but let's try and get it by ourselves. So I'm going to use the polygon function to act inside this circle function, and you're going to see it live and direct here. So what I do here is just simply polygon. I'm going to call out the name of the function polygon. It's already showing here that it exists. So by the time we call this particular polygon function, we call out the total model, which we have defined already, and we call out the distance, which is equals to what? This is not distance equals to, oh my goodness. So see, this is the distance. This thing is disturbing me. Okay, so the distance, the D equals to the distance here, which already we have defined. If you can see what we did here in polygon here, it said the D, N, and is reset. So we are bringing in this particular function to act on this circle to make it work for us. So, comma, N, which was already given, N is now the steps here. It's now defined as the steps here. And is underscore reset. Is underscore reset is definitely equals to what? Is underscore reset. Is underscore reset is actually equals to is underscore reset. It means that the same is underscore reset in circle is also the same here for the polygon as well. That's what it's trying to tell you, right? And this is a named argument. So if you want to now say, okay, now let's run this particular concept here. We are breaking out of this particular function. You can see I've broken out of this function. It's no longer in this particular function. And we now call in the circle. We now call in the circle function here and use call out the circle function here, and we put in t here. Normally, originally there was t here. There was definitely t here. Now the next thing we're going to put is the r. So that's the radius. And by the time we pass the radius here, we are going to let's use 100 radius, and definitely let's use false for now. Let us not reset the screen. Please take note. Your false should start with a capital letter. Your false should start with a capital letter. I think that's a mistake someone did in the previous class, and we had issues. So what am I doing? Before I run this code, I would like to check it out. Like if you can see right now, I don't know if someone has observed something right regarding this code. What I did now is that the distance here, instead of putting in the circle here at once, I've added it in the polygon itself. If you look at it here, the distance is d here. I've defined it as a named argument, and I've given it to the polygon instead. So it's just saving me no stress and trying to explain the whole concept of what argument and parametric function here. Wherever you are, mute yourself. I may not be able to go back to you and to mute yourself, please. Infinite Hot, your name, Infinite Hot 10T. I'll answer. I'll get back to you very soon. Please just wherever you are, please mute yourself. Mute yourself. I'll get to answer your question soon. So right now, if I run this code now, if I run this, definitely it's showing for us a circle here. So I can also decide to what do I do again? I can decide to say I want to put through here. Definitely is going to, and once it finished loading, is going to give what is going to reset the screen. So at this particular point, I would like to let me just finish it up. There's something I want to do again before I give you time to ask your question. So let's just do something. Let's do something that we have done before, and that is just to make a repeat of different kind of circles and different kind of radius, and we want to use, so we can just see the other ones we have been using before. So we just reset it first before we even start anything. We reset the whole total screen. Once we reset the whole total screen, so normally we do the for I in range. You can decide to use different ranges. So right now, let me just use 1 to 7 for now, and definitely put a colon, enter, and you call the circle the circle function. Once you call the circle, pass in the parameters. That's t, comma, and I. We want it to be increased after every movement, after every circle. We want it to be increased by particular size. So let's just use 30 for now, and you don't want it to delete after every that. So we put it as what, false. You can see there's an error already, one error, because I started it with a small letter. So so if I decide to run this now, so this is the first circle that's resetted the screen, and now we are moving like a multiple kind of loop. So this is more of a loop, the thing that every distance that moves, it increases by 30, and we are going to do it 7. This is going to be 6 times because I did 1 to 7, so it's going to be 6 times. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 6 times. So this is exactly what I just wanted to rush and show you, and I can decide to go back and explain it again and again. But at this point, I would like to give room for questions. If you have questions right now, please ask right now, because if you do not understand, it's better we go back and start all over again. Okay, so you'll have time for questions right now. I can pause my sharing. I can pause, no, not pause. Can decide to stop sharing for now and pause record.
Sorry, I asked the question. I didn't
Resume recording. Okay, so at this particular point, I shared a video in the group. I shared a video in the group before the class, and I said that we should look at the concept of star. And I may not really give you more of doctrines. I will just go straight to how we can actually create a star. And I said that a star actually comes up with a 180 degrees. So any angle that we have, we're going to, for example, if you want a five-sided star, we are going to divide it by 5. Any value that we get, we are going to now use that particular angle and divide by the variable name angle itself, which we already have. For example, let me define the star here. The star, and definitely we'll need the total. We need D. We also need, we want to use a color in this particular concept. We want to bring the concept of colors. So is underscore reset. So we need colors too. So we're going to use color. We're going to bring in color here as well. Definitely we are going to use, what do they call it? Yes, we are going to use the screen reset. So let's continue. Now, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to define the angles in which we want to use. So we are going to define angle equals to, definitely is going to be 180 divided by 5. 180 divided by 5. So once we divide, 180 divided by 5. 180 divided by 5. And I don't really know there was light. Yeah. So, guys, sorry for that. Sorry for that. Okay. Can you guys hear me clear now? Sorry. So once I don't know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Hello,
yes,
guys.
I can see your screen.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, I can see.
All right, so let's continue. So what we mean by this angle is going to be 180 divided by 5. We are saying that we need a 5-side kind of star. And once we use this 5-side kind of star, we want to divide it by 180. So every angle of that particular star is actually 180, which I shared it a 2-minute video in the group chat before now for us to just go through it. So by the time we get this, we're going to now divide that part. We are going to now subtract that particular angle from that 180. So any value that we have for angle on line 71, we are going to subtract it with what? With 180, and we'll define it as the angle itself again. So it's going to be 180 minus this particular angle. So I know I could have decided to put it as angle 2, but I just want us to know that once you are defining a particular, guys, at what point did you stop hearing me? Please let me know. Sorry for the inconveniences. At what point did you stop hearing me? Because it's very important I explain this concept. Did you get the line 72 right now?
That's where we lost you.
Okay, angle is equals to 180 minus angle. So what you are trying to say that this is more of like a concept of a star. It means that it begins with 180 degrees, and since we want a 5-side star, we divide it by 5. So any of whatever we have for that particular angle, that means 180 divided by 5. We are now going to the value itself, whatever we have. I don't know if someone can just point the calculator. Anything we have right now is definitely going to be subtracted by 180. So anytime that will be the angle in which we will have for the angle of the side the 5-side star, and which I shared that link before in the group. If you don't understand at the point, we'll try to explain it again in the group. So, okay, so now we go straight to, so we get to fill the, what they call it, ask the reset screen is reset screen. We're going to bring in that concept. So if it's reset screen, if what is if we want to reset screen, if is underscore reset, so you can see it's showing here already, is if underscore reset equals true, equals true. So what are we going to do? If it's equals true, we're going to do what? Bring in the what? The reset. We're going to bring in the reset, and once we reset this, it's going to reset the total screen itself. We are conversant with this particular concept. So what do? We continue with the filling. My battery is low. Okay, sorry, Miss Charity. We'll find a way to be fast and end this session. So please pay attention at this particular time. So we're going to use t dot color. Remember, we have defined a particular total t. So we're going to bring in the t dot color, and put color inside. So we're trying to bring out the color method in the total model. And we said, this is what I want to, we are activating the color right now. We said, this is what I want you to do. So you begin the action for total. And let's say the first step then you do is t dot fill. You're supposed to bring an option to fill color, t dot fill color, and you're going to do what? Fill the color itself. So color, why am I using capital? What is going on? Okay, color. So you can see a color came up here. So by the time, the next thing is to do, once you bring in the fill color, the next thing we should do right now is to begin fill, to begin the fill. So t dot begin what? Fill. These are inbuilt kind of statement for the Python total model. Oh, why am I typing? Why am I clicking capsule for caps lock right now this time? So you begin fill. By the time you begin fill, this is trying to tell total, okay, I have called out the color, fill color. Now, this is what I want you to do. I want you to begin the fill. And by the time you begin the fill, what are you filling? You are filling this particular range in a star. For I in range, what? We need a 5-side star. So it's going to be a 5, and that is going to be an N, and we're definitely going to put a colon and enter. So t dot fd, we're going to define it. Definitely is going to be d that is inside there. We're moving the distance of d, and we're going to definitely move the distance of we're going to turn to the angle of the angle. Like we're turning, instead of the 90 we normally use, we are going to reference the angle itself here. So by the time we do this and we call out, once we finish this, we are going to call out the t.end field. That means anytime we've done this, let us end the filling of this particular star. So we click enter, we backspace. You can see I backspace. So it will be on the same line with this t.color, t.fill color, t.begin underscore fill. So the next thing we're going to do is t.end underscore field. We're definitely going to end it with an open and close bracket. So by the time we do this, we are now going to call out the function name itself. So we enter, we backspace, and you see that it is outside this particular function. So what are we going to do? We're going to call in the star function itself. So star, and what were the parameters that we passed in the star? We looked at t, we looked at d, is reset, and color. So we're still going to use, most time we're going to use the name function. So we still use t here, comma, the radius, the distance, let's use 300, or let's just use 200. And the screen dot reset, let's use true. So we can say is underscore reset. So underscore reset equals to what? Let's use, should we use true? Let's use false for now. Let's use false. And color, let's use color. Which color do you think we should use? I love blue, so I don't know, I use blue here. So let me just use blue. So if we do this and run this, and let's see what it will definitely give us at some point. So you can see it's already showing this is as a blue star already. So we can decide to put in as many as we want. You can decide to put it as many as you want. So I can decide to put it as many as I want here. I want to copy and paste this now. When we are in the presentation mode like this, it tends to behave in a normal kind of way. So we can decide to Control V, enter, Control V. Can decide to change this to, let's say 100, and change the color to, let's say, yellow. And also this one, we can change it to, let's say 50. And let's change the color to, let's say red. So if we run this, let's see what it will give us. Okay. Okay, so guys, you can see what just happened for us. So we have created a 5 sides kind of star. We have looked at different radius and different distances and which we have used for this particular star. So that's what we're going to look at. And I think at this particular point, if you have any questions, you can ask. If you have any questions, you can ask right now. If you have any questions, you can ask. So what I'm going to do right now is simply going to give you a little classwork or an assignment. What I want you to do right now, instead of giving me a 5-side star, side star, I want you to give me an end kind of side star. Maybe you want to give it 8 star, 8 sides, 8 sides, or 9, or remember that it must be an odd number, because if it's not an odd number, it's not going to work. For example, if you use 4 here, it's not going to work for us. So let's just try and do that in the next class. If you have any questions, please ask. If you have any question now, please ask now. Otherwise, we end the class here.
All right, I have a question.
Okay, sir.
You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, line 84.
Okay, line 84, okay.
Yes, that force, why is it not in like this inside the quotation mark like a string, and then the color blue is in a quotation mark?
Why is
like
it
a
not
string?
what?
This force, why is it not in a quotation mark like a string? Why is it not coded like a string, and the blue is coded like a string?
Okay.
Do you understand the question?
Yes, I get you. So first of all, if underscore reset is a Boolean, so it's either a false or true. It either comes in.
Yes, I know.
True.
I know that. I'm asking why the force is not actually coded like a string, and then this blue is coded like a string.
Yes. Now,
Even though it's not as if we expect it to come out like a string, it would translate that as blue, as you asking the system to color the star you want to draw as blue.
yes.
Then why do we have to?
Okay. Let's remove it and let's see what it will give us. Now you can see there's an error already showing here, because that is you calling, for example, you brought out when you define your star, you brought out the color kind of. This one is an inbuilt kind of parameter which we use in Python when it comes to color. That's why you brought in t.color. By the time you brought in t.color, you're already initiating that color in your particular kind of model for your turtle. Immediately you bring this t.color and input it in bracket color. Any color that you find here, which I've already said is going to be in what? In quotation.
Okay, so you must code it like a string.
Yes, it must come in form of a string.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear about that.
Okay, so what I would like you guys to do right now in the group, maybe today or tomorrow, just try and create a particular kind of star with different sizes. So anywhere you see 5, guys, let me just give you a heads up. Anywhere you see 5, change it to n. Anywhere you see 5, change it to n. So you are going to name another, you are going to give another parameter. You are going to give, it's after t comma d, there's going to be n parameter there. Do you understand, guys? So you're going to put n parameters. So anywhere you see 5, that's where you're going to put n. And whenever you're calling the function with a function, you're going to this particular place t comma 200 comma, you now put the size in which you want to, how many sides you want. For example, you want maybe like 8, you can just put 8 here. It will change it when you're drawing. It will definitely change it for you. So I would like to see that in the group, or tomorrow, or anytime you feel like doing. At this particular point, I would like to say that we are actually done. I will start sending the submission form for the project. Please, you have now and Wednesday to do that, or we will be flying away without you. So just try and submit this. So this thing is very simple. Then the one I said you should do is going to be very simple. So anywhere you see 5, you put n, and you're going to add another parameter to this particular star function. So you're going to add, for example, maybe this particular place, you just add n, comma. Once the time you add n, comma, anywhere you see what they call it, you're now going to put, let me say something like 85, for example, 5 here, just put n. And let me look for another one. This place is, instead of 5, you put n. Let's continue. So in this particular one, maybe say you want 8, maybe you want 8 sides. So just put 8 sides. This particular one, you can decide to use 8 as well. Comma. Let's just see if it's going to work for us. So this particular one, you put 8 as well. And let's see how it's going to be for us, if it's going to work or it's not going to work at some point. So let's see. So you can see what I was just trying to say. So that's what I want you to do. Now, if you can see, it's using 8. 8 is an even number. You can see it's not complete. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You can see it's an incomplete kind of star. It has a little k-leg. So it's always advisable that you use odd number. For example, let me change this to 9. So by the time I change this to 9, and let's see how it works again. So you can see it's arranged properly well compared to the previous ones. So these are the kind of things we love you to try it out and make it out for yourself. It's an amazing design already. So this is what I want you to do. Then I think there is another one known as pen color and fill color. At this particular point, maybe I'll just find a way to, maybe you go and read about it, or I'm going to share the course note, and you are going to see the whole concept of field and pen color. The concept of field and pen colors means that as he's drawing, for example, let me draw this again. As he's drawing, like down, this is the pen color, that is blue right now. This pen color. Then there's another one known as field color. So this field color is this field color right now is that yellow. This yellow that is showing now is the field color. There's a way you can separate it. The pen color could be blue and the field color could be yellow. So there are ways you can actually do that. I'll share that in the course note as well. But at this particular point, we are done explaining the the total project for you guys. So it's left for you to go through the assignment, bombard, try to get questions. All the to-dos in that particular assignment is expected of you to fill in the gap. I'll send in the course note. It's just as explanatory as it is. I've dropped comments. Everything is step by step. You will not miss it. I think the only thing is the arrangement of the code. For example, in that part, in the notes I'll be sending you, the if is underscore reset is on top instead. is supposed to be below, because I was using a Jupyter notebook at some point. So even though I want Jupyter notebook, it's not going to give me an error. But if you do that for PyCharm, it's going to give you an error. So guys, at this point, if you have any questions, you can ask. The class is officially, you can say officially ended. So if you have any questions right now, you can actually ask.